Hello guys, and welcome to a new video from Riverside X Studios. And in this video guys, we are going to be looking at my top 5 ways to stay organized when working on a project within Logic. Now this can apply whether you're doing a mix, if you're perhaps producing an instrumental, or even if you're doing mastering or any other reason that you may be using Logic. So the first tip is labeling your tracks and also adding icons and custom icons. When I'm working in Logic, I like to label every single track that I'm working on. The main reason for this is so that when it comes to pulling up certain instruments, or if I need to check the fader on a certain send, I know exactly where I need to go. The best way to do this is within Logic. As you can see already, this is a project that I'm working on, but I've already labeled everything. But for you, you may have it just saying audio 1, and then for example there will be like no icon on this, so it will just be like something like that. Okay, so the way you just do this is you just double click on where the text is and then just type in what you'd like to call it, and I like to just call it kick drum, but I can abbreviate that to KD and then press enter. And the reason why I don't like to make the names too long is because then in the mixer window, if the name's too long, for example, you might not be able to see the whole thing, so then it ends up saying something like kick rum. And you can also name the tracks within the mixer window too, just by going like that. Another thing you can do is add icons. If you right click here where the icon's meant to be, you can then be presented with this menu, and in this menu you have dozens of icons to choose from. And another great thing about Logic is you can actually add your own custom icons. So for example, when I've got an instance of machine open, I've got this icon for machine, or with an 808, I've got the classic 808 here. Alright, and if you want to add a custom icon, you just press the add button and then basically locate the custom icon within your Mac's hard drive, but please make sure that it is a PNG file. Within Logic, you can group tracks together, and the best way to do this is to click on the tracks which you want to group together rather. And in this case scenario, I want to put all of my drum elements in the same type of folder to clear some of the arrangement window a little bit, so it kind of just makes it a bit more organized, a bit more neater. And the best way to do this is just to click on the first one and then just press Command, and we're going to be using this for all of the drums. And then we'll right click on any one of these and then go to create track stack, and you will be presented with this window. Now a folder track basically just puts all of the instruments into that folder. However, a summing track actually allows you to have it as a bus so that you can apply effects to all of the elements within that folder stack. So for me, it depends on what I'm doing, but if I'm just trying to group stuff together, I'll just put it in the folder stack. If I wanted to, for example, create a drum bus, then I would use a summing stack. So in this instance, I'll use a summing stack. So now I can open this up, and within this I can see all of my drum elements. So once I'm finished mixing my drums, I can just close that, and then it does free up some space in my arrangement window, especially if you've got an arrangement with over 40 tracks and you haven't got such a big screen to work on. This can sort of add some space into the equation. Another thing as well which I do is just name this drums, and then I can also add a custom icon for this too, just like that. If you look at the top here, there's this button here, it looks like an envelope, and you just click on this. What we can do is add arrangement markers. So in this project here, I'm just going to play it so that you can hear, and I'm going to take a mental note and basically set out the arrangement markers to where I need them to be. This is a great way, guys, because let's say for example you're working on a vocal and the vocalist might say, oh, can you drop me in on the chorus? By having these arrangement markers there, you know where that exactly is, rather than having to say it could be here or it could be there. And it's just a great way to visualize your arrangement. So the best way to do this is, let's say for example I'm going to add a marker, and then you'll get this long strip here. What you can do is go over to your secondary tool and click the marquee tool, and then basically put the line where you want this to split, and then press the, I believe, command button, and then this will split this marker to that block. And then basically what you can do then is type in what it is that you want it to say, this will be the intro. And then if we then hold down Alt and drag it over, we've basically copied this. Now I want this to be my verse, so I'm going to double click on that and then call that my verse. And then moving over again, I can then double click it and then call this my chorus. Another great thing that you can do is also color these too. So just click on the one in which you'd like to color and then go to show colors, and then I can select the hook as red perhaps, the intro view, show colors as green. Now as a producer, over a period of time you will build up a collection of samples, and a lot of the time when you want to work you need to find where your drum samples are. Now in Logic there is a way to do this, and if we head over here and click this button here, which is your browsers, and then I am going to go over to here and go to the home button. Now my drum samples are located in my music folder. So I'm going to go into my music folder and then click on drum samples, and then here are all my drum samples. Okay, so I know where these sample packs are. But going to the point, let's say for example there's a certain drum pack that I always use. It could be future R&B loops. So what I can do within Logic is I can bookmark this future R&B loops, and then what will happen is it will come up in my bookmark section over here. Now because I didn't do that, it hasn't appeared. Grouping your instruments that are of similar aspects together. When you first start out, you might just have all of your instruments all over the place. Let's say for example at the top here you might have a snare, and then you'll have a bass, and then you'll have a hi-hat, and then maybe you'll have a vocal here, and then a hi-hat, another hi-hat here. Well, it's good practice to, once you've got all of your instruments within the project, group certain things together. So I always have my drums at the top, I have my bass below that, then I'll have stuff like instrumentations together, then my vocals, and then at the bottom of the vocals I'll have things like effects. And this also correlates well in the mixer. So as you can see, when I open up the mixer now, for example, all the drums are together, the bass is together, and the instruments. Coloring your tracks. When I work, I like to colorize my tracks, and this is the same with the arrangement in a way. I know from my workflow that when I see a red track, that's a bass, because I always color my basses red. If I see drums, I'll know it's always yellow. Instrumentations will always be green, and then effects are usually purple or pink, and vocals will be blue. So that's what I've done in this case. And the way to do this, guys, is click on one of them and then command all of the others, and then right click and then assign track color. And then here we can pick what we want it to be, so we'll make it green. And now within the mixer window, all of these are green. These are my top 5 tips for staying organized when working in Logic. If you found this video interesting, guys, please hit the thumbs up button. And I'd like to hear from you in the comment section below. Are there any tips that you could suggest and share with the other people that are watching this video on how you stay organized in your Logic project? Please feel free to drop them below. And don't forget to hit the subscribe button for future videos from Riverside X Studios. And most importantly, keep working on your music and stay focused.